Hey, this is Mike.
Hey, this is Kaz, and you are watching and listening, hopefully, to Two Broke Watch Snobs, the only watch podcast that knows the next stop is Willoughby. The next stop is Willoughby. You have made it all the way to episode out 265. Hello. Hello. Hello, computer. Oh, sorry. I had to get closer to the mic. Hello. Hello.
There's a lot of occupational hazard, I think, around your
Hello.
desk when you do the intro. You're kind
Yeah, I
of
got
hitting
like
yourself, hurting yourself.
I'm hurting myself. I got pliers. I had some kitchen scissors here, not like fabric scissors, but like scissors for like cutting chicken bones because I couldn't find the big like the mega big fucking scissors, not like the big scissors. Like
You just had bleedy scissors on your desk.
do you not have bleeding cooking utensils on your desk as well? I don't understand, Michael.
Dude, it's a mess. I was setting up the camera thing, and this whole camera situation is a challenge because I can record in a pretty dark office. My desk is usually messy for the existence of TBWS, but now we have to look kind of presentable.
I was I was getting ready for the show. Also, yeah. Hey, everyone, if you didn't hear last episode or if you forgot, we are also putting these on YouTube. So head over to YouTube, go and check it out. If you also want to follow along with the show and see what Michael and my fucking dumb faces look like, you can also see the watches that we're going to be talking about because we can actually pull them up on the screen. But I was getting ready for the show and like I got up for breakfast. I'm like, oh, I got to get ready. And like my wife just saw me put on like a shirt I've been wearing for like 3 days. I just put this old ass shirt and then started walking out. She's like, don't you want to grab a new shirt and shave? I'm like, no, I'm perfect. I'm perfect the way I am. Someone homeless, certainly disgruntled. I'm perfect. It's great.
I just put a black long sleeve over what I slept with, so it's.
You look like a crab fisherman with the beanie. I'm super jealous.
Thank you. Minus the beard, though. Minus the beard. That's
Sans beard. Well, here.
yeah.
God damn it. This is cool. Let's do this. Episode 265, We're watching podcast. This is going to be a ton of fun. You have made it a very long way on your journey with us. If you are one of the folks who has been with us since the beginning, you might recall episode 1. What was episode 1, Michael?
Affordable vintage watches, part 1. And
part 1 of a million.
Yeah.
We thought it would be.
It felt like we were learning to play with our wieners for the first time.
In front of each other.
Like, does yours work this way? Yeah.
I've never done it. That's crazy. Dude, that's so good. Totally cool while recording it. It's fun. It's family. It's what family does, Michael. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whew, that flew off the rails. Well, we thought it would be interesting. Actually, Michael, you had this idea last night. Episode 265, sort of this kind of coming full spectrum out. I hit my knee from episode 1. Episode 1 was focused on this idea of affordable vintage watches because I think, especially at the time, you and I were maybe me more so than you, but we were infatuated with the idea of a vintage watch. Like a vintage watch was a potentially affordable way to get a watch that had history, legacy, and that was interesting. Coming full circle, episode 265. Now we're asking ourselves when vintage watches are just not worth it. When vintage watches aren't worth it. At what point? Because the vintage watch game has gotten insane, dude. Like,
yeah, and I think people.
My microphone is like really way too close to like the camera.
Yeah, you can move it.
Is this better?
Well, now I just see the microphone. There you go. We're gonna get this right, guys.
Okay. All right. I'll have it here.
It still sounds good.
I'll get closer to it. Okay. Hello. All right.
It still sounds good. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't think a lot of brands were leaning into the whole vintage reissue thing at the time either. So if you wanted, back in our day, Black Bays were 41 millimeters.
And they used to have ETA movements in them, if you believe it. And there were only 2 or 3, technically. I guess when they launched, there was 3.
Yeah, so I think Longines was doing something with the Legend Diver.
Legend Diver for a while, yeah. They've been rocking that for a bit now.
We had the Seiko SRP 777s coming out, and
oh man, that's right.
And they had already done a similar reissue of those before.
What a time to be alive back then.
So it was Yeah, if you wanted vintage, in a lot of cases, you had to go vintage. I don't think a lot of the brands were doing their whole, this is an exact one-to-one recreation of this watch that everybody loves. You'd get
Hmm.
something similar, but probably very huge, impractical in some way. So yeah, vintage was attractive in the sense that you could find something with some kind of orological clout pretty
Sure.
easily, and it wouldn't be that expensive. So it was an attractive topic for episode 1 of Two Broke Watch Snobs. Yeah,
Yeah.
but now
How the
things have
world has
changed.
fucking changed. Oh my god. Every time one of these brands like digs into their archives or looks under the water cooler at work and finds some kind of vintage model they can reissue, it drives up the prices of the actual vintage versions of those watches. It then allows people to feel like they can start just charging crazy prices. It also makes it very difficult to find certain vintage watches. And then the other reality of the fact is you can, because I've had this happen to me. My early collecting niche within the vintage watch world was just vintage Soviet watches. So watches produced in the Soviet Union, like country, Soviet Union blocks from about 1917 to like 1991, 1992. It is entirely possible for you to do all your research, for you to purchase a vintage watch, online or yeah, usually online. That's the reality this is. And then they mail it to you, and you get it, and it falls apart. That's
Yeah.
happened to me twice. Just falls apart. But it wasn't that bad, especially because I was only in it for 20 or 30 bucks. Sure, like I lost 20 or 30 bucks, but I didn't spend 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 bucks on a vintage watch.
I still have one of those first watches, by the way. I still have the Vostok Amphibia you gave me.
That's really cool, actually. That's a fun one. Oh, he's got it. I forgot we're on video. You can show people yes. Man, that's so cool.
Isn't that great?
Isn't that literally the strap I gave you as well with it?
Uh
Or is that a different one?
it's a different one. This is a
Okay.
different strap. This is
So
a kind
cool.
of a knockoff cheap Sean Connery uh NATO thing. Yeah.
You should have just been knockoff cheap Sean Connery and then just stop talking. It's just a knockoff version of Sean Connery. Sorry, what were we gonna say?
That really good dial too, actually. I think the condition's pretty good.
Dial in there is super cool. That old Vostok Amphibia should be running like, oh, I'm gonna fuck up the movement. Oh no, I shouldn't have put myself on the spot. It's
It's okay.
probably it's probably a 2409. It's probably a manual line 2409 because the 2416 are automatic and those were a little bit later. So that's probably 241 a 2409 in there. But
It's a running.
it's a running Vostok. Well, you know the old Vostok saying, Vostok takes a licking, keeps on taking. No, that's a different brand. That's an entirely different brand. Please don't sue me. But there is now a threshold if you're considering vintage watches where it's just not worth it. Like it literally is not worth getting certain vintage watches. So that's what we want to talk about when we get there. When we get there. We're not there yet.
Not there yet. We have
We're
stuff to
not
talk
there yet.
about.
We have lots of things, lots of hot button. Not really. We're just gonna hang out. Michael, for the 265th time, do you want to make history with our wrists and our faces now? Do you want to do an audio wrist check?
Yeah, let's do it.
Your hat matches my shirt, and my
This
hair
is
matches your shirt.
this is how we coordinated. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, go on. You go first.
Let's see. Let me share because we can all look at everything. And all right. Do you see it? So we're
It's loading. Oh yes.
yeah, I'm wearing, I don't even know how to pronounce this. I've had it
Ooh, here we
for
go. Let's see.
had it for a while. It,
Erdene?
yeah,
Erdene? Yeah.
it is the
That sounds.
Ardune R6 legendary diver.
Yeah.
Um and this thing sells for $150.
Nice.
And I think I got it for less because I used some like discount thing or whatever. This is basically a recreation of the early watches that were being tested for Navy SEALs, watches like
So cool.
the Tornek Reveal, TR 900 came out of that. There's the Bulova with similar specs. They release it under the Millships name now, and this
Mm.
is and then of course like the 50 fathoms looking watches. This is made to look like a sterile, very early prototype. And it's funny. I used to have the Tornik Reveal, the newer one, the TR660. That's kind of like a Mark II watches project.
Right.
Um, and I had them both, but I kept this one. I sold the other one.
That's actually really funny. So you like this one? You're happy with this?
I like this one because it's so damn cheap. First of all, like,
Hmm.
uh, if I get rid of it, I'll probably just give it to somebody. Um,
It's not worth. It's not worth the hassle of selling it for
yeah,
35.99. Honestly.
yeah. The whole song and dance of like Reddit Watch Exchange to sell it or whatever. And the dimensions. I mean, not to say that that was a bad watch. I think that Tornik Reveal is probably still one of the best watches you can get for under
Mm.
1,000 if you're into this kind of stuff. But the dimensions on this are way more, I guess, faithful to the older ones. Even the crown is super tiny, um,
Huh.
just like the old ones. And yeah, I don't know. I dig it. It comes with this. The lugs are actually, I think, 19 millimeters. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. A little. It's a little thick, man. 14 mil. Is that with the crystal?
It's with the crystal. Yeah. So
Word.
it's got this big old, I think you could get it with sapphire or, oh, it's mineral. No. Yeah. It's mineral glass, but
Cool.
I don't know. It's been holding up pretty well. I think
Oh,
it's
it's got an NH35 in it. Hell yeah.
NH35. You can get it sterile like this or with the
Yeah. What's
logo.
the logo look like? I was gonna ask you. Oh yeah, take the logo off. It looks like shit.
It's just the whatever that is. Can I?
RDNA.
Okay, here's the explanation. So, I guess the brand name is that.
What the
Oh,
Roma D? Hmm?
Rome isn't built in a day. So then they took the first letter of that saying and then they
Roma
made
D.
a. I don't understand.
Well, that's stupid. Think you and I can both agree uh, with clarity that that's pretty fucking dumb.
The great great watch, I love it, but the the brand name is a little puzzling.
Probably should have workshopped that brand name a little bit more
It
before you
may
kind of
have
put that on watches.
it's like an AI spewed out a watch brand. Like, I
I
think
mean,
it's
probably, you know. Hey, ChatGPT, you're a world class brand marketer. I need help coming up with the brand name, and then it all just kind of tumbled out of control from there.
but yeah,
That's cool though.
this is it. I love it. It's kind of it's really well sized. It looks very vintagey. The NH35 in this has been keeping really good time.
It's a solid
Uh,
movement. Hell yeah.
I love the bezel, and this strap is a single pass with a nylon keeper.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, I don't know.
What more do you need?
Yeah.
Now,
So
is that a I'm gonna do dishes with it watch? Do you feel comfortable what's like with your dishwashing rating on there?
yeah, well, the issue with me is my sleep rating because apparently that's where I break watches when I fall asleep with them. Um,
Maybe just do like skunk dancing in your sleep. Remember skunking? Is that what it was called? Was it skunking? You know what I'm talking about?
or skanking, like the ska stuff.
Skanking? Yeah, skanking. That's what it was. What the kids were doing with the jazz music and all that back then. Yeah, skanking. Maybe you're just skanking in your sleep and you're just like kicking, punching air,
That's
and
very
like
possible.
and like your wife doesn't have the heart to tell you.
Oh, she tells me if I'm rowdy while I'm sleeping. I've gotten the elbow before,
Oh, that's
but
funny.
yeah, I think if you're into this look, I've toyed with the uh there there's a there's someone that runs an Instagram account called, I think, The Alchemist Reloomer or something like that, and you can follow his projects where he takes sometimes newer watches, older watches, and he relooms them just very, very skillfully. But people send
Cool.
him, I think somebody sent him like the Bulova lunar pilot, and he did a really cool job, you know, doing this sort of patina mod on the loom. And I've been thinking about doing something similar with this one because it'll I like the look of it, but some of the coloring here is a little corny. Like this
Yeah.
little, it's made to look like the water ingress
Yeah.
tablet thing, but it looks, I don't know. It's a very weird kind of tan color that doesn't match all that well with the I guess the photina on the markers.
You know, it's really interesting. Watches like this and watches in this kind of price range that are fairly affordable for what you're getting. You're getting a ton of watch for
Yeah.
this $150 or whatever. You feel less self-conscious about doing stuff like that. Oh, I'm going to think about having someone mess with the loom, or oh, hey, I'm thinking about, trying to mod this out or something like that. Like, I think folks are a little less inclined to do stuff like that on like their you know, several $1,000 watches. Like I'm not gonna go and buy like a Longines Spirit and be like, you know what, I'm gonna send it to some YouTuber to have them, do some espresso shots and relume it in the dark. I'm gonna see where that goes.
That person posted a project where they did it for a Black Bay 58.
Well, fuck me.
So
I'm apparently an idiot because people do send their watches like that to that guy.
I
Good for
guess
them,
that's ballsy, you know?
right?
But,
I wouldn't
you
do that.
it looks kind of cool. I just hope the Black Bay 58 is never a collector's item.
What about your warranty? What if you void your warranty?
Oh my
What are you gonna
gosh.
What are you gonna do?
Dude, they gave me crap uh when I sent the tutor back for repair. They gave me crap for it not being on the bracelet, by the way.
So, some people don't. If you're just like a person who's not like a watch nerd and you walk into a tutor, whatever you walk out with that watch, that's like, let me try with full sentences. My dad has been wearing a two-tone Rolex Datejust with Roman numeral markers on the dial since like 1979 when he got that, and it has never left that bracelet. That
Yeah.
bracelet is the only thing that watch has ever been on. I think that's fairly normal, you
Well,
know?
apparently there are some stories of them refusing to do service or something, or saying that it's like
Really?
not factory ready for service or something like that if it's not on the bracelet, which got me
Then
kind of scared, but they did the work.
well then tutor, don't put fucking spring bars on there. Just solder the bracelets on.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be some people doing that, like that's
Yeah.
insane.
But anyways, that's a different story. That watch is fine now. And this is what I got on today. A little, what is it, $150 dive watch with a Seiko
Hell
movement.
yeah.
I
Heck
love it.
yeah. My turn. Let me pop it off my wrist. For episode 265, I'm wearing my Manta Triumph. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see it, and the people can probably see it now.
Yes.
There it
Oh, that's
is.
right. I forgot we had a piece on the presser on the site. Nice. Head to
Yeah.
TwoBrokeWatchSnobs.com, everyone. I love this watch. This watch for me represented what I would say was probably like a year and a half, 2 year journey. I tend to not purchase watches willy nilly. Like in the last few years, I'm usually no watches in the year or like one big watch purchase in the year. And I was trying to find like a new house watch, and I was about to become a dad, and so I combined that to my new house, new dad watch, and you know I tried it with that Orion Hellcat, which folks probably remember, or if you don't, I'm not gonna make us walk down that I'm not gonna make us walk down that street again with everyone, but I didn't have the best experience with that watch. So got rid of it, and then we had been pretty close with the Monta team for a while. We were not quiet or shy about in the micro brand world how killer these watches are. Like
Yeah.
they're certainly charging a premium, but it is one of those instances where you get what you pay for. You know.
I think I'm surprised every single time. So I was just there um in your neck of the woods, and I got to meet up with you and see your new watches, and
See
I
my new
think
baby.
see your new baby. I'm surprised every single time I handle something from Monta. I in my head I thought you handed it to me, and in my head I thought, oh yeah, this is gonna be a nice watch. But man, it's a nice watch. It's
It's really
so
fucking nice.
so
This is
well built.
everything I want. I wanted a slim, everyday wearing field watch that was a bit touch luxer than a regular field watch. Like I don't want a field watch to be like my granddad pulled us out of a trench and in World War One. It's like no, I just kind of want Arabic numerals on a watch that like is not trying to look like it's from the past.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
the
saying? And this
the
thing is
case
awesome.
thickness, the case thickness is just
It's
it's
under
absurd.
10 millimeters.
I brought that I brought that the Momentum Sea Quartz also for you to
Yes.
look at. This thing is as it just looks as slim as a quartz diver.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I fucking love this watch. I love the bracelet. I love the case. Everything about this watch, I am supremely happy with. I was. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I heard you take a breath.
No, I was just gonna ask, do you know how many they made of this one? I don't know if I ever got the one.
It was limited.
Oh, 95. Here we go.
Yeah.
95 pieces. Wow.
So wherever you are, other 95 wrist bros. Actually, I think they still have some left. So 75 wrist bros. I have no idea. Wrist Eskimo bros. What am I trying to say? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Wrist companions.
Wrist,
Monta
wrist. Yeah, there's no sexual
compadres.
connotations. Yeah, there's no sexual connotations with that. Wrist companions, wrist compadres. Hello.
Yeah.
A good day to you, kind folk. I was going to wear my Grand Seiko, but something happened. I'm trying to figure out what to do.
What happened?
Possibly the only thing that can go wrong with the quartz watch.
It's running out of battery?
The battery's dead.
Dead?
Dead. What was
Sorry,
that?
I was waving to my
Oh.
wife.
that you were like signaling the goons to come like take me away. Like they've been waiting outside my house for days, but like any day he's
They
gonna say
can
something
somehow see
fucking
me doing
dumb.
the signal for me.
Yeah, well, I mean they're watching. I assume they're tapping into this feed and they're watching from there's been a pizza delivery truck at my front yard for like 4 weeks. So I can only assume it's them.
Hey,
And you were signaling
that
them.
stuff freaks me out. I could talk about creepy vans parked outside for hours and like thinking there's stuff in my walls.
Oof. Yeah, we could do that podcast. We could do that podcast. That could be TBWS After Dark, where we just talk about
Yeah.
like our tinfoil hat feelings. But no, the battery, the batteries. What I'm a little concerned about is I didn't get any warning.
You know why this
Is
happened?
this supposed to tick differently? Why did that happen?
This happened because I wore it. This happened. You loaned it to me for like not even 24 hours. We swapped a pair of watches, and I break everything that I touch. This is my fault. I'm so sorry.
I don't want to say it's What could have broken it? What did you didn't do like burpees or parkour while wearing this
No,
thing.
dude,
You just walked around and had like funnel cake. I don't know what you did when you were here, but like, you know,
I was cooking dinner the other night, and I was wearing the watch that you gave me, the Eco Drive diver. And I look at my wrist, and it's dangling like on the nylon strap. I lost a spring bar. I don't know
you
what's
just
happening to me.
lose a spring. What were you doing? Were you whisking eggs?
I was cooking a steak dinner, man. I don't know. I just
You were calmly flipping a piece of meat to the other side, and you saw you were missing a spring bar.
so that's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I broke your Grand Seiko.
I don't think it's broken. I think the battery died, but I really could have sworn, isn't this? It's supposed to tick differently. When my Omega battery was low.
We should probably look. I don't know if the 9F does that. It'd be really funny if it doesn't.
If
Should have some
when
end of
my
life indicator.
actually, let me Google it. It is the 9F82 because my Omega did that. It was doing the hand skip thing. Let me show people at home. This is my quartz one. So the 2541 Bond reference. You got to hang out with this watch for a little bit. Sorry, the clasp was being weird. I got to send that to Omega.
No, it's okay. It looks good on the NATO. So
It does look. Thank you. Thank you for that NATO. 9F82.
yeah, I don't know if the 9F movements do that. That'd be kind of crappy if it doesn't, because you feel like it has all the fancy bells and whistles built into it like that, but I'm actually not sure.
Okay, let's see here. How to identify replacement period indicator. Wait, what? I'm on the Grand Seiko website.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have any of that stuff on my watch. Arabic numerals, blah blah blah. How to identify nothing. Nothing here is helpful.
Yeah, we should look into that, because that is kind of strange. Of course, even if it did have some sort of end of life indicator, I'm sure I broke it somehow.
No, Michael, I got this. Well, I've had this watch for 3 or 4 years.
What did you say? The 9F62?
82.
9F82. I'm on Caliber Corner.
Oh yeah, solid site.
Yeah, I don't even see anything about an indicator here, but anyways. Now
Maybe I should send it. Maybe I should send it to Grand Seiko. Just also get cleaned up.
Just take it to the mall, man.
No, I'm afraid.
I would be afraid. I would not take that watch to the mall.
I had a local jeweler change the battery in my Omega, and he did a great job. He's like an actual like local, like, I don't know what the term is, but like he's an actual like master jeweler or master goldsmith or something. Like he makes jewelry. Like he made a necklace for my my wife when we were there. We were picking it up, and I was like, oh hey, can you do you do like battery changes too? He's like, yeah, I could do that. He wasn't rough with my Omega, but he wasn't as gentle as I would have liked him to have been with my Omega. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I had a horrible experience last time I had somebody change the battery on a watch. They just put a big old scratch on the case back.
Oh, man.
Luckily, it was like a rough military type watch, so it didn't really, I don't know, matter to me.
I still would have said something. I've been like, huh, that's interesting. I didn't have this giant like face scar in the back of my watch when I gave it to you.
I noticed when I got home, so I was just
oh shit, okay,
whatever.
Yeah, I was nervous that like I thought he knew that he broke my watch because he didn't charge me, and I was almost like, no, charge me. I want paperwork. Like I want a paperwork transaction that I was here and you fucking ruined my watch. But like it's fine. I was just being paranoid. He just wasn't as gentle with it as I would have appreciated. So yeah, so got to figure out the Grand Seiko. But that's what I'm wearing for the episode, man. We're in the month of Triumph. This is it. This is it for a long time. How can I let me do this? Fucking
looks good.
Everything's reversed. There we go. I swear we are professionals. We've been doing this.
We're pro YouTubers already. Yeah.
Pro YouTubers. There we go. So cool, man. Good wrist check. Well, here, let's do this. I want to jump into the main topic before we have to go through. We get Michael. I don't want to do it, but we have to go through some housekeeping.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Okay, everyone, go and check out twobrokeWatchSnobs.com. Michael and I took a bit of a posting, I think kind of like a light posting break towards the latter half of December. But now that we're back in January, things are picking up again. Check out the site. Huge shout out to Aaron Shapiro for getting this. I never know how to say the name. Heim?
I think it's just like that. Yeah.
Heim Legacy Automatic. As usual, Aaron got really killer photos. I love the write-up that he was able to do in here as well. So go and check that out on the site. In addition to that, we got a piece up that Michael and I have been wanting to do for a long time, but the concept is just really weird. So we have a watch guide section on the site. Yeah, you got it right there. Perfect. So it's a a fairly straightforward guide on the idea of cheap Rolexes. So it's literally just called, cheapest Rolex watches. Um, this is a really interesting piece because I think what precipitates, and I want to do a separate video on this. I think what precipitates people's just initial thoughts on getting a Rolex, not just if you're like a watch person or like a regular folk, but like everyone. It's the idea of I want to own a Rolex. Like that's it. Like that sentence, I think carries a lot of status with it. And I think people want that. It's very easy to be caught in the allure of that. And that leads people down this path of trying to figure out what is the least amount of money I can spend to get a Rolex. There's your wrist, Michael.
Yeah.
Look at that. Which is a bit of an issue. The concept of spending the least amount of money in the context of Rolex is fucking dumb. When we're talking about cheap Rolex watches, you're still going to be spending anywhere from like $5,000 to $9,000. That's cheap
Yeah, and whether it's
for
vintage or
Rolexes.
or modern, people, back before shortages or anything like that, I mean, people would just kind of go in and see what is the cheapest cool looking thing that they can get. And
Mhm.
in many cases that's, Explorer 1 or a no date sub of some kind. And uh, people were doing that more and more and more. What is the lowest barrier to entry for something that I like? And then that's why, or I think that played a part in stainless steel models
Mm.
basically becoming impossible to get, because so many people were just like, "Oh, that's the cheapest one that I can get that looks cool."
Yeah.
And yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. Uh, whether you're looking at something new or vintage.
Yeah. It's and I will say, spoiler alert, I think about 50% of this article is Airman's. It's just Airman's.
The Air Kings. Yeah,
Or Air Kings, excuse me, Air Kings. Also, huge shout out and thank you to Tropical Watch for helping us out with some of the media
yeah.
on here.
He's got some cool stuff as always. I'm
What's funny is I even got trapped. I got trapped in the allure as I was putting this together. I started just looking at Airman's. I started looking at Airman, the 14,000 reference, or 140000 or whatever the fuck it is. The one that they redid in the like the 90s ish, because you can get them for not that much money in the context of Rolex. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
We're still
Uh,
talking 4.5 to 5,500.
It's still a lot of I could buy my brand new Omega Rail Masters blue jeans, whatever the fuck is
Y-
whatever, yeah, blue jeans for that.
Yeah, they're cool. I like the size. I think that's what I like the most.
The size is very alluring. So
Yeah,
go and check out the website. I don't want to talk too much about this because I want us to do a video just on this topic of
yeah,
cheap Rolex watches, but go and check it out. We're also, some folks might have noticed, we're also building out a new section of the site. Um, that's dedicated towards brands, but more so I this idea of trying to give a brand almost rating or a bit of a guide into the quality behind a brand. So, okay, yeah, perfect. You have the Longines one up here. So we're being very selective about which brands we choose to do these pages for. But what you'll see here, if you go and you check out the site, I don't know, I should probably actually make them accessible on the site somewhere, but we'll put a link somewhere. This piece is on Longines watches. There's grading criteria here. I'm gonna post on the website the formula that we use for grading, but basically the way it works is each one of these criteria: craftsmanship, reputation, design, innovation, and affordability, gets ranked anywhere from 1 to 10, but then that has an additional modifier on it. And so basically that helps us ensure that a 10 on craftsmanship isn't weighted as same as the 10 on something like reputation, because those two, even if they both have a 10, they don't they shouldn't be weighted the same. I would argue that I put more importance on something being well crafted as opposed to it being something that's reputable. So that's a little bit of the math behind these grading criteria as they are here, but you can go and check it out. Each one of these sections has a bit of additional copy on it and things like that. We only really have a couple because it takes us a little while to put these together. But by the end of the year, I want to have a nice collection of these up. So
Wow, this is an old article. Remember this?
that was
This
one of
is
the that was one of the first. That was one of the first things. I think we did. It even has the double H1. That's how old it is, Michael.
yeah, that's true. We did used to do that.
we
Oh, the
memories, dude.
little quirks of running a little watch website. Very
Just a
cool.
little watch website. So head over to workwatchshops.com. Head over to our YouTube channel as well. Definitely subscribe because we're gonna be putting things up on there. Michael and I have been talking a lot about like video and audio quality. I don't know who I was watching. I was watching a watch video uh for like a micro brand. Either a micro brand was on it or it was like a small, really, really small, I think just starting out watch like blog. But the video quality was like insane.
Yeah.
Like I could see like their fucking hair growing. Like I could see the hair follicles like grow. Like it was like I was just thinking, I'm just like, Michael and I just use I'm just using my laptop camera.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
And I have no lighting, by the way. I have a larger monitor here where if I go on a page that I don't know is not using dark mode or something, I kind of have some kind of light. Any sun that I had when we started is slowly going away because we have these dark,
Oh man.
dreary days right now.
Dude, pull up the Tag Heuer Carrera page and see if you can get the lighting they use on Ryan what's his last name? The guy from Driver.
Ryan, is it
Philip?
Gosling?
Gosling, yes. See if you can
Yeah,
get that lighting. Do you have it up?
that would be cool. No, I don't have that up. Where is that?
Is that Ryan Gosling? I'm probably really butchering my actors.
This is great. Tag Heuer. Heuer?
He-
Are you talking about like let me see. So a photo like this. Let's see. Where is it?
I want like moody, like
Like
waves. Yeah.
this photo?
Yeah, dude. Can you pull that up on your monitor and get that going?
I can never look that cool. Then there's the watch. Yeah, it's some kind of what is that?
He's on the Carrera page. Like he's just
Okay.
I was working on the Tag Heuer TBWS brand page, which is why this is fresh in my mind right now.
We're just two guys looking at Ryan Gosling right now.
We're just two cool dudes looking at another very attractive man wearing a watch that I never really thought that much about, but now I'm thinking about it. It looks like a pretty cool watch, actually.
Yeah. He's kind of like I think he can be the new Leo for Tag Heuer because it was Leo.
I totally forgot it was Leo for a while.
But he knows how to wear a watch. Actually,
You would see Leo in the airport, and he would wear it. He would wear it on his hand. He for some reason thought this didn't make him look like a fucking asshole. Just walking around ordering McDonald's, holding his watch.
It's okay. Worked out for him.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
YouTube is going to be exciting. I think the barrier to finding like gear that works and tools like StreamYard that we're using right now is a little easier to get by. And I get excited anytime we make just a little bit of progress. Like posting the last one was super fun. I'm glad that people like it. But then see, have you seen this channel? Sorry, I'm gonna give him a plug right now because every time I think about doing YouTube, I look at something that this guy does. Have you seen these videos from You're Terrific?
Hell yeah. He's a friend of the show.
It makes me want to quit anything that I'm doing. I'm just like, okay, there's no point. It's like
Because
when I hear Steve Vai play guitar, I'm just gonna throw my guitar away.
why try? I mean,
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
think
we're excited for that. It'll be fun this year.
yeah. First of all, huge thank you to everyone that checked out the first episode we put on YouTube, and tons of very nice comments. Uh, I think we were both just like, yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of like, it's not even 4K or whatever the fuck. I don't know, or I don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, I just assumed. Okay. Well, I have a very fractured relationship with my mom. I'm sharing that for a reason. I assume every interaction is going to be like an interaction I have with my mom, where it's just like, "Oh, hey, mom, I did this great thing," and she'll be like, "But you didn't do that thing." You know what I mean? Like, I just assume every interaction I have is going to be like that.
You should move the camera and then just change to sitting on a couch, and then we can talk about these things.
We can just talk about feelings. You don't want
Yeah.
to hear about my feelings. You don't. No, I think in terms of camera quality, we can probably ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah,
What I don't.
this is the 720p club right now. That's where we
Sup,
are.
sup, everyone. I do think we need to have a very frank discussion, and we can do this in front of the kids. Um, I don't know if I want to do the jump cut thing. It's like disorienting. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the jump cut thing?
Kind of just. Do you mean the?
There's no
Do you,
pauses. You don't even hear people breathe. It's just ba 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 ba. It's like, oh my god, dude! Like, what's
yeah,
happening right now?
and they combine that with the quick zoom sequence, which
Oh my god! Yeah, no, no,
I hate a little less. Like I get that, but it's so overdone now. You make a point and then zoom.
no.
And I think it's just a digital artificial editing thing that you do. And
Can we also emphasize our points with claps? I don't like jump cuts. Can we start? Can we do more? Can we do
we
more
can
of this
we can
with
do
the
that.
zoom?
Yeah, that'd be
It
perfect.
is tag Hoyer, not tag her or tag her Hoyer. Actually, that's really fun. I get why people do that now. I feel like I'm talking to preschoolers.
It feels it feels good and it feels like you're smart. I don't know.
It makes me look smart. And as someone that has difficulty with that, I'll take it. I'll take that shit all day.
We're gonna get great comments on this episode.
It's a free show. It's fine. Head over to bookwashnobs.com. Head over to the YouTube channel. Let us know what's up. Let us know your thoughts on just the future of the YouTube channel. Anything you want to see on there. Like I said, I want to start doing some more things every now and then. But with that said, housekeeping is over. Housekeeping is done.
Oh, I didn't set up those bumpers that I had last time. That were super fancy.
Oh, the little I totally forgot about those.
I'm
That's fine.
slacking.
I can write it on like a piece of paper and put it in front of the screen like
And
it's an 8th grade video project.
it'll be mirrored, I think.
Oh
You have to
fuck! I have to write it backwards. Oh, dude, we do not have the time to have me try to figure out how to write something backwards.
Oh man.
I'm just happy our names are on the screen. I'm happy with that. But here,
I almost wrote Kaz on mine just to see what you would do. Like,
who am I? Who am I? Vintage watches.
Vintage watches. Yes. Are they worth it?
It depends. What does worth it mean?
Hmm.
Because I think what happens with vintage watches is something that happens with a lot of the psychology behind the collector's mentality, whether it's comic books, because I have some comic books on my wall. I used to be really big into comics. Whether it's comic books or like fucking like baseball cards or watches, the concept of worth it is contingent upon the idea of winning. You can get so caught up in something related to a vintage watch hunt that it no longer becomes just about the watch. It becomes about the satisfaction of winning. I think the best example I can share for that is my Slava Medical.
Mm.
That was no longer about the watch. Actually, should I grab it?
Yeah, grab it. I don't think we have that on the website or anything. That'd be oh gosh, I hope he doesn't hurt himself.
You're talking, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to the people. I hope he doesn't trip. All right, he's safe.
He said,
I don't know. I didn't want you to get hurt.
no.
That thing.
We actually do have a video. I have a video on our YouTube channel of how pulse meters work. For some reason, I
Oh,
made
that's
that
right.
video like a few years ago, and I used the Slava Medical as the example. Slava Medical. Slava is a Soviet watch brand. The idea of a brand in Soviet urology is not the same as brands in like privately owned businesses. All watch brands were owned by the government during the Soviet Union, and uh, they weren't necessarily operating for this concept of financial gain or brand history or anything like that. Soviet watch brands, like many industrialized Soviet pieces back then, were trying to build themselves in a way to make the Soviet Union more industrially competitive. So it wasn't about, oh, I'm going to make a watch that is 25 seconds faster than the latest version, blah, blah, blah. It's the idea of I'm going to make a watch that's reliable, that fills a need, that's very Soviet based, so we don't have to rely on outside industrialized nations. So, like, that was a lot of the core function behind Soviet watch brands. And so the Slava Medical, I like Slava was based in Moscow. It's technically the second Moscow watch factory, I'm pretty sure. But this is essentially it's a doctor's watch. It's a pulse meter. So there's two different scales on the watch, and what you're supposed to do is, I don't know if you can see it. There's a second hand. Let me wind it so you can see the second hand moving. The second hand moves when it reaches the top of the scale, which it's doing right now. I'm supposed to start counting. I think I count 12. It says, I think it's 12. Oh, that's
Beats.
Roman numeral. Yeah. It's either 12 or 15. Count 15 beats or 15 heartbeats. So, like, that's when you're supposed to find your pulse. And then wherever it falls on the scale, that's like your heart rate per minute or something
Per
like
minute.
that. Yeah. I love this. When I heard about this watch, it is the only mechanical pulse meter that was made during the Soviet Union. There were two other ones from Raketa and Chaika. They're quartz. Um, just because if I'm a doctor and I'm trying to take someone's pulse, I'm probably going to go for a quartz watch. I think it's going to be a little more reliable and accurate. So kudos to Slava for going mechanical. They use their 2428 caliber, which is a double mainspring barrel movement. And so the idea is with double mainspring movement is as the power starts to decline, you won't get that precision lag that you would get with a single mainspring barrel. So the idea is that it would be more accurate. I don't know if it actually is more accurate, but I got so lost in the hunt for that watch. It's not even that much money. I think I got this thing for like $200, but do you remember Barabbas?
I remember Barabbas and how he wronged you.
He wronged me. Barabbas from East Beef Wellington, which I know is not a real place, but that's just for some reason the only thing I can remember. I first learned about this watch, I fell in love with it, and I very quickly found someone that had it. And I don't remember the exact circumstance, but for some reason, they listed it. It was on eBay and everything. For some reason, they wouldn't sell it to me. Oh, I know why. Because they didn't want to ship it to the US. They were in the UK.
Yeah, it's
And he didn't want to ship it to the US. And I was like, dude, we don't have the Pony Express anymore. It's the future. You can send me things and it'll be fine.
I mean,
But
how much would that have been?
I have no idea. But it was like, oh, you're on eBay? Oof, I have not looked at eBay listings for Slava Medicals
Yeah,
in a long time.
all from Ukraine, mostly. It looks like.
They're going to be coming out of, okay, so if you are on the hunt for a Slava Medical, which I suggest not doing, but if you want to, you're going to find them in former Eastern or in former Soviet bloc countries, so a lot of other like Eastern European countries, or the wild card is you might find them in Italy.
Hmm.
There are a lot of Slavas that were sent for some fucking reason. Not for some reason. There's actual historical reason, which I talk about on the website. But there's a lot of Slavas that were sent to Italy, and so every now and then you can find really cool Soviet watches on like the Italian eBay. This episode is sponsored by Google Translate, the only fucking way you're gonna navigate the Italian eBay, unless unless you know Italian.
Let's see. I wonder if I can. Let's do North America. Nothing.
Oh no, God, you're not gonna find someone selling it here in the States.
I don't know what this is, but it's not.
It's just
It's not.
dudes. It's just dudes wearing shirts for some reason. Yeah, you're not gonna
Yeah.
find it here in the United States. So Barabbas wouldn't sell it to me, the fucker, and that set me on like was it 2 or 3 years before I finally
I
got this
convinced
thing.
you. Yeah, I convinced you.
That's right. I remember like every week I would look, every week I would check eBay, and I always knew it all at all times how many Slava medicals were up there because the answer is usually one. It's usually one or two a year that used to make it up there that were actually authentic.
Yeah.
Um, or they're questionable redials, or they're just not. They don't look quite right. So at a certain point, I could have dedicated myself to something like I don't know, coding, learning something like useful.
Yeah.
But instead, I stayed up and I spent nights just looking at eBay and looking for this watch until I finally got it. And at that point, like, if this, if in that context, I would say the hunt was totally worth it because the watch that I got, um, is perfectly original. The case back is appropriate. Everything in the movement is right. I didn't get it from like a random flipper. Actually, I take back what I said before. I bought this from someone in the United States.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think that's what blew me away. We were recording an episode and I was probably searching it while we were talking, and I think we stopped recording and then I sent you the listing and I was like, "Dude, I don't know if it's real. That's up to you to figure out, but this one is in the States." So
Yeah,
that's why I sent it to you, and I think
I
that's why
bought
you
it.
pulled the
I
trigger.
bought it from a kid. I bought it from a man who was just graduating college, and he was just like moving out of the dorms, and he was just selling stuff to make some money. And he bought this watch because he thought it looked cool. I mean, like, sure.
Sweet
I think I
deal.
paid 250 bucks for it, which is like a little on the high side, but like it was worth it, dude. You know? But I knew what I was getting. If I spent, a little bit more money and I was getting something that was like questionable or busted looking, I don't know. I don't know if I would have gone for it. Probably wouldn't have. At that point, it wouldn't have been worth it, you know?
It just seems like such a minefield to me in a lot of ways. I've been pretty open about not really
You don't
liking
you don't like
vintage
vintage watches.
all
Yeah.
that much. I mean, there was one watch that I messed with, and that was this one. This is the Smith's W10. Still kind of stings a little bit.
You really liked this one. It was cool. It was really cool.
I liked it. I made a mistake selling it. I don't think it's the watch I regret selling the most. But
Mm.
I mean, even after having it and fixing it up, I don't know. It just yeah, it didn't really spark joy after a little bit. So
That's fair.
I don't know. And I think if I'm if I'm interested in something like this these days, we don't have or back then we didn't have a lot of options if you wanted something brand new, ready to go, wrist ready,
Mm.
whatever for daily wear. But like even then, I'd probably try to get something like this instead. So,
Oh yes.
you know, this is the CWC, the Mellor 72. I can get that brand new today for under 1,000. It's probably not going to have any problems. I'm not going to have to worry about it breaking and servicing, 3 months later. So I know
Yeah.
there's an appeal to the hunt, and that plays into the overall worth of the buying experience and the ownership experience. But I don't know, it's just not me, man.
Well, the other thing that I think wouldn't, I guess I find surprising that it's not compelling to you. The other reason why someone would make the argument to want to go with an actual vintage watch as opposed to something that like this is the vintage watch has a story. Like it's
Yeah.
lived a life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like just that would be appealing to you, but I think people I think people romanticize the idea of a watch having lived a life because they assumed it was a good life or it had
Yeah,
like a
it
good owner before.
it might not be that interesting. He could have been an
It,
axe murderer. I mean, I
he
guess
could
that
have.
would be kinda cool, but
Well, it depends. Was he like a sexy axe murderer, like on television? Like how they make television shows about sexy murderers for some reason? When
not
did
not like
murdering become cool?
not like a with when Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, I guess he kinda made it cool.
I can't believe I have to say this. Killing's not cool, everyone. Jesus Christ. All right.
The
Fucking hell.
the story thing never really, I don't know, appealed to me. I think
That's so interesting.
there there's a very limited range of watches I'd find that, uh, compelling with. I
Hmm.
I I guess maybe I guess just because I'm so into the military pieces and all of that, the whole, you know, top of the food chain there is getting something that actually was issued with issue markings.
Right.
That's kinda cool. I mean, the most I'd go there, it's gotta be like a quartz SBS CWC or something like that. That would be killer because it would be technically vintage, but I would still say maybe neo vintage because it's gonna be, uh, 80s, 90s type stuff.
What if someone forgot a battery in there? And it's just like a
Yeah,
coral reef under is like that's the risk. That's the risk with quartz, vintage
that could
quartz
ha
watches.
that could happen, but at the very least, I know that I don't know, I'm not gonna have to figure out how to service a super old Lecoultre movement that, watchmakers haven't been trained on in, like, I don't know how long, but
Just
maybe
take it to the mall kiosk. Just take it to the guy in the mall kiosk.
yeah, the same guy just hits it with a hammer and like, "You're good to go, it's running."
It's moving now. That'll be 85.99. Holy
Yeah,
shit, dude. All right, word.
and these have all gotten more expensive. I mean, just kinda casually looking at those listings for the medical, I'm seeing $500,
What?
$600.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So it's a different kind of risk that you're taking these days,
No,
It's
there's so many other things I'd rather spend $500 on.
you know,
Obviously, I'm a dick. I'm saying that I already have the watch. If I didn't have the watch, I'd probably think differently. That's where the idea of winning fucks with your head.
a lot of these sellers, or some of them, I'm noticing the default photo is, or like the profile photo for the seller profile is like a sexy, like AI Ukrainian woman. Just like, yes, you're totally safe to purchase from this listing.
Yeah, AI images are getting out of control.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to be something stupid simple. Sometimes okay, the one that hurts the most by
Mhm.
far is the 14060, the no date sub that
Wow.
I got from Yatsik at Tropical Watch a very long time
Nice.
ago.
That's right. Okay.
A very long time ago.
It didn't have a bracelet, right?
Didn't have a bracelet, and uh I
That
think
was
it
the
cost
first watch I ever saw you wearing.
really?
I'm pretty sure that's the first watch I ever saw you wearing because before I even
Mm,
got into watches, the topic came up and you mentioned that you were wearing a Rolex.
I think I had well, when you interviewed me, I was wearing my Orient Mako. So
Oh, okay. I
that
didn't
would
clock the
technically be
watch
the
then.
first time. Yeah.
That would have been the first watch I would have been in the room with you while you were wearing. I don't know if I was looking at your wrist.
Yeah, but maybe when you talked to me about watches for the first time, that's probably what that might be what I had.
Mm-hmm.
Because, but yeah, it would have to be something stupid simple like that. The caliber, because that watch had the caliber 3000, and I feel like that is a stupid simple movement that there's not much that could go wrong with it, from what I understand. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if you keep it serviced and well taken care of, it's going to be fine in the long run. But some of this really weirder esoteric kind of stuff, I get kind of worried about it. And that was the same with the Smith's watch. I think it was some kind of, I forget the movement in there, but it took some work to get it serviced. And
You took it to Gray and Sons in
Gray and
Miami,
Sons. And
right?
I still kind of don't know what they did to it. I mean, it was working fine, but
I mean,
uh,
it has something changed. That's still a reputable place, right?
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think there are so many more options these days. Even if you're looking for, I mean, the SBS Diver is the same watch today that it was, for like the issued ones. Anyways, so
Can I say? I know it's not my place to say. I kind of wish he still had that sub.
oh, me too, man. I mean, like,
That thing would be kind of cool. There's something really badass about that. Like no bracelets, just the head. You have it on like a NATO. You had it on a leather strap,
I tried to find the
from what I
cheapest
remember. Yeah.
the cheapest Rolex, what is the cheapest way to get into a sub, and that is I think like a late 90s, no date, 5 digit without the bracelet. And
Yep.
I think I paid less than what you paid for your Grand Seiko.
That's so good. That's a really good price. It was also a very long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It would have been 2014 or 2015.
So
Something like
9 or
that.
10 years ago.
Horrible. Gives me
Old
chills.
old subs and Bitcoin.
Yep.
Why didn't I buy them when I had the chance?
I toy with the idea of finding an M. So I had the 14060
Hmm?
with the caliber 3000, and then closer to the end of that no date sub production, they came out with the 14060M, and
Right.
I think it's the caliber 3100, so COSC certified. So actually, yeah, the one that I have wasn't even COSC certified. It was
Jeez.
it's, so I
It's
toy with the
gotta
idea of finding something like that again.
it's
Maybe
gotta be
the
like double or triple the price now,
oh gosh, yeah, it would be
right?
embarrassing. It would be embarrassing, but technically probably should be the last time you'd have to think about a Rolex, because but that watch and a 36 millimeter Explorer, I think, are just some of the coolest ones you can get. You know,
You don't want an Air King? You don't want to get your Air King game on?
the Air King is kind of cool. Um,
I want to try one out. I'm afraid 34 might be
some of
a
the
bit tough.
did we talk at all about the turnographs in here?
No.
Because those, oh, okay, those might be a little pricier, but those are kind of cool. They're basically date justs with rotatable bezels, and
Oh, cool.
it's not a there's an even crazier one, but I don't think I think it's probably impossible to find. I think there's an old date just called the Transcontinental, and
Oh,
it has a rotating 12-hour bezel. That'd be kind of cool.
that's kind of badass, actually.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't, it's one of those almost like mythical watches that nobody knows anything about. But so back to the point, I guess it would have to be something quartz for me.
Hmm.
Or something insanely simple, mechanically simple. Um, and the story thing,
Meh.
I don't know if I fell for that, honestly.
Some people do. It's like my wife and I watch these like house hunting and like interior like renovation shows all the time, and like you see people uh there's a big divide in those shows amongst those who want like new construction, like I want something brand new, or I don't want anyone to have ever used the toilets, versus other folks who are like, I want a house with a story to tell. Like I want to be just one chapter in the book of life for this house that's been here since 1875. I have no idea. And so like they fall in love with this idea of, the story of the house, but it's so funny and it's so human to think anything that has a story that came before us, like I said this before, was a great story. Like, what if, a house was subject to an abusive, like parents, and like, or like, what if this was like a crack house before, or you know what I mean? Like, just because it has a story doesn't necessarily mean it's like, you shouldn't put a dollar value on something like that. You can't control that. I can't control what a watch's life was like before I got it. So you have to have a very pragmatic discussion with yourself where, do you like the watch because you think the watch itself is will say something very interesting in your collection, or you think the watch will be an interesting part of just how you express yourself with horology? Because those you can possibly put a dollar value on. I don't like the idea of, you know, folks wanting to get a watch because they think, if I buy this watch that has a story, I'll inherit its story and then I'll have an interesting story as well. Because people do that.
I want to know nothing about the person that lived here before
You
and
know,
what they did here. I'll get that out there.
we
And
found meat hooks in the basement and like all these like D clamps everywhere. And like, I just don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I just know she was a horrible plumber, and that caused me a huge headache that I won't get into. Um,
Oh man, you don't want to know the history though of who wore that Vostok amphibia before you?
I don't know, man. Maybe the guy cheated on his wife while wearing it, like, or yeah, that thing is in rough shape. Maybe that's actually a Soviet diver's watch or something really cool.
Someone probably dove with that watch.
Yeah,
It's not a casual purchase.
but yeah, the story thing,
I think we
even
can
with
say this. I think we can say the story thing is not worth it. Don't let the story of what a watch's past could have been trick you into thinking it's worth purchasing.
even with military watches, you see some listings like, oh, this one saw action. Like, what action? Was the guy sitting at a desk, or like
It was, yeah,
was
I
he,
don't
I don't know, in Ramadi, like doing crazy shit? Like, I don't know. But
know.
yeah, that even that stuff doesn't really appeal to me. It just sounds like more problems down the road when I read that kind of stuff. And I want, because I mean, we have to be thoughtful. Again,
No,
prices on these things have gone up. If a Slava Medical is selling for, I mean, this one's 480 bucks and it's got 14 watchers.
that's
14 people
crazy.
14 people saw 480. Yeah, I don't think about it.
Oh,
So
now I gotta look at this thing. Is it
different
real?
different kind of risk. I can pull it up. We can look at it together.
Try to look at it
We have new technology, Kaz. I have to open the
together.
listing. What is it? Uh this is 480 bucks. And here we go. We can share the screen. Here it is. From Save Time.
So the outer ring and the inner part of the dial look like they've aged at approximately the same rate, because that's one thing that's a telltale sign of a Franken. If that top part where the ticks are is a different color than the part in the center where the red text is, it's from a different watch.
Hmm.
So at the very least, we can say that these have aged um, at the same rate. Uh, the text on the bottom looks okay.
I
This
mean,
might be okay. The
it
shape
looks
of
really good.
the shape of the case is a little rounded. So like, You see, mine has, I don't know if you can't really see it. Mine has a bit more of a, edge contours. Sometimes you'll see with cases that are refurbished, they're polished to the point where they lose a little bit of their shape.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Just in eyeballing it, I'm getting a little bit of that. Let me see if I can see a side profile shot of this thing.
I don't know if they have one here.
Fuckers. The case back looks fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got the star, you got the CCP on there. The number's meaningless. Don't believe the numbers. It doesn't mean anything.
What theories do people have on the numbers?
It's supposed to be serial numbers. It's supposed to be like manufacturing codes, but the reality is like they're not keeping strict paperwork. Like I don't fucking know because it's also it. This is a style of case called the Slava fridge case.
Uh-huh.
Because I guess it looks like a fucking, I don't know what fridges looked like back then, but I guess they looked like this. There are several models that had this. And so it's so easy to just take the case back from another fridge case and put it on here because it'll fit. And it's, let me see, has the correct ring. I think good portions of this are correct. I think it's been repolished to hell. There are no movement shots that I can see, which is a very big red flag. If you actually are considering a Soviet watch, you have to see the movement because that will give you additional indications whether or not it's been frankened or serviced weird. The largest issue that I've seen with Franken watches that you can tell in the movements is the case screws. So case screws are little screws that hold the movement in the case. They're either missing or they've had to be repositioned because if they have to franken the movement, the case screw holes won't really line up the way they're supposed to. So I wouldn't spend 480, but I would ask this person for movement photos. And I would ask them if this thing has been repolished or refurbished. It's way too smooth. It's way too shiny.
Yeah.
I might throw $150 at him. And just be like, yeah, it's probably Franken, but it's cool.
Where are they? Let's see. This one is in Ukraine.
Yeah, they're all gonna. Like I said, I got fucking lucky because of you. Thank you, Michael, that I bought mine from someone in the States.
That happens a lot with CWC as well. I think the only time I've purchased CWCs not from them that I've found on eBay, it's been a very, very long hunt. The last one I bought was actually from Canada. That's as close as I could get. But I wanted it so bad that I went for it. It was an actual tritium dial. Actual tritium dial automatic.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, and I sold it to someone. I don't remember who, but yeah.
Whatever. So it's gone. It's not in the collection anymore.
Not in the collection anymore.
That's okay.
You might find some photos on the website, but that's it.
That's funny. Yeah, I think. Let me just close those windows. Now I'm just looking at Slav Medicals. You know I'm looking at Slav Medicals right now.
He's gonna do a bad thing live on air.
No, I already have one, but like I'm just trying to find mistakes. The I turned it to my mother. I'm just trying to find mistakes. Oh god, it happened on air, everyone. Vintage watches, the story isn't worth it. I think the other thing that's really changed my perspective, I don't really Jones that much for vintage watches anymore. Honestly, simply because I don't like having to baby them. Like, I don't want to have to constantly be worried that, because I'm in Florida. Oh, it's humid outside. This thing is going to like fog, or, oh, I don't want to have to bump this thing on a door sill by accident. And then how am I going to fix it? Like, I don't want to go through the hassle of having to baby the watch. Like at at this point in my watch collecting journey, I'm very much on board with I just want to throw a watch on that I love, that's expressive of how I want to collect, and I don't have to think about it.
Yeah,
You know?
that reminds me of that episode we did, where we asked ourselves if we even were collectors, or are we just people that like watches? Because I think if you're a collector, some kind of, you know, Seiko academic or something who's very interested in collecting these huge swaths of Seiko history. I mean, I think Eric Strickland, for example. I mean, that's
Amazing.
that's just a ton of vintage, and but also I would say historically important to put that kind of collection together,
That's
and
a very good point.
that's gonna be a lot of vintage, and it's the kind of thing that people can really learn from. But I think if you're the kind of watch collector or person, non-collector even perhaps, you just want something that works, especially if you are spending quite a bit of money, something that you don't have to baby.
It's actually interesting you bring up a collector like Eric Strickland. I think there's something that occurs. So all facets of watch collectors and all facets of watch collecting have elements. I'm not saying this in a derogatory way of selfishness, of being selfish in them. Selfish in regards to I see a thing, I want it. I think that's congruent across all facets of watch collecting. Though there are some facets and there are some tiers of watch collecting which are a little bit less that and more in terms of what I think you get with someone like Eric Strickland, who it's an appreciation for this as a kind of historical touch point to the effect where you end up curating a collection that actually adds value to that thing you're collecting for. So in a sense, even though again there's the element of being selfish, which is totally fine, um, with certain collections, you're actually almost giving something back. Like you are creating something that's comprehensive and accessible that helps enhance the story of the thing you're collecting. Not all collectors collect that way. Not all collectors can say their collections uh, do that. Thinking about Eric Strickland's collection, if I'm just focusing on like the Seiko thing, because of how that collection is curated, or actually, I haven't checked on in his collection in a long time, so I'm hoping it's the same. But thinking about how I used to remember it, it makes me appreciate Seiko more.
And in that sense, hunting for vintage is worth it
It's worth it.
because the value, I guess the value is in the cumulative. um
Let's
uh,
just use the academic phrase cultural value. I'm really sorry, everyone. It might be the cultural value
yeah,
of,
possibly.
of the collection you created.
Possibly, yeah. I think there's the crappy side of having to hunt for vintage, but when you see all three of the US Divers Co. Doxa sub 300s in the professional dial, the Sea Rambler and Shark Hunter dial, all in the same place at one time, I
It's amazing.
that's a rarity, you know. So
It makes
uh,
you appreciate that thing more as opposed to what other people's collections might do. And yeah, it's actually really funny. You can either be jealous of someone's collection or you can appreciate that thing they're collecting more. Like you can be a little jealous of it as well, but like, I don't know. You know those folks on Instagram who like open the watch box on their coffee table and it's like Hublots and Richard Meals and things like that. Those are collections that are, I mean, obviously those are more wealth enthusiasts, but they're not adding anything to the cultural appreciation of that thing they're collecting. They're just spending money and trying to make you jealous.
well, going back to the Soviet watches, who was the guy that had that insane collection?
Mark Gordon.
Mark Gordon. Okay, the like I think the value there was just being able to go to that website and have questions answered, especially
Yep.
like if you're researching stuff.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah. He died, unfortunately. I think we talked
yeah,
about that on the show.
it's gonna happen to all of us.
It's the only thing that's for sure, I think, this day and age. Mark Gordon was a collector, probably one of the most prolific and really catalog driven collectors in Soviet watches. He had so many watches, and he had them on his website, and he had them in this compendium that you would search as if you were going through like archives. Like you could search by references or models or brands, Soviet watch brands and things like that. And so, and he was not originally like a watch collector. He was more of a self-proclaimed, Slavophile. This idea of being infatuated or at least drawn to um, objects or histories or cultural milestones that have like Slavic background, like Eastern European Slavic backgrounds and things like that. And so that got him into uh, Soviet watches. And like, dude, he had crazy things. He had in his collection something that I've always thought would be so amazing to own, but they're just so crazy to try to get. Okay, so some folks were able to revive his website. It's not quite the same, and it's not the entire collection, but a collection of folks in the Soviet watch community were able to bring the site back up. So that's what Michael has right now on the screen. If you're on YouTube, he had in his collection, I think, 2 or 3 Tutima chronographs during a period of time when that section of Tutima. I'm not saying that name correctly. I apologize to any German speakers. When that section of that factory was on the Soviet Union side. No, hold on. I'm getting confused. It was on the Soviet Union side. So what they did was they took all of the machinery from Tutima to Moscow and started making their own chronographs. So there are sort of Tutima branded chronographs out there with first Moscow watch factory stamps on them, and that is just so fucking cool to me. Honestly.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Like, and that's a small period of time. And the reason that was a big deal is the Soviets, of all the things at the time, the Soviets were trying to get right with Soviet horology. So this is World War II-ish, even World War One-ish. They couldn't do chronographs. So during wartime, anytime like a German soldier was captured or if like a German plane went down, the first thing those Soviet soldiers were doing was seeing the motherfuckers wearing a chronograph. Because those things, it was the one aspect of Soviet horology they just couldn't do very well at the time. And so when they then had the opportunity to take the machinery from the factory that was making really good chronographs at the time, and at the time it was Tutima. Again, I was saying that name wrong. They did that. They just took the machines, and so Mark Gordon had, I think he had like 2 or 3 in his collection. That blows my mind. That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
radium dials, like so cool.
That's when putting in the work makes it kind of cool, because again, you have the academic utility behind that sort of collection. It's priceless, I think.
That's nuts. No. So yes, in that sense, collecting vintage is worth it if you are able to help the community appreciate that thing you're collecting more. Or, you know what I'm saying?
But if you're looking for an old school type panda dial chronograph that you can flex on Instagram, you could
it could be worth it to you if you want to spend the money for it.
It could be worth it to you if you want to beat yourself up trying to find something that works, is in good condition. That's cool. Or you can get a Dan Henry. I don't know.
or you can get a Dan Henry and be mountains happy.
Yeah,
mountains happier with that. You know.
I know this is I'm taking a position that a lot of people are not going to agree with, but that's kind of where I am with.
Well, the great thing is the great thing is the show is called Two Broke Watch Snobs. It's not Two Broke Amicable Watch Enthusiasts. So I think it's totally fine for us to take hard stances on certain things.
Yeah. If we had a PO box, maybe people would send us mean things. I don't know. Right now, Right now, they just have to yell into our podcast reviews.
Yeah, or if you're in the car listening, just roll your window down and yell. We'll hear it. We'll hear it. It'd be
That's
like
true.
it'd be like the like an emotional bad signal. Like I'd be like eating dinner and be like, I've angered someone. Someone hates the show.
Oh man.
I'm also trying to make sure I got the history of that Tutima chronograph from the first Moscow watch factory correct. So I'm talking to you and I'm trying to recreate. I'm trying to piece together the history again in my brain.
There
Pretty sure I
might
got it.
be there might be 4 people on the planet that probably like know the truth behind that history, and maybe one of them listens to the podcast.
And one of them's dead. So I guess it's okay. If
You might
but
you might anger one neckbeard that
that's
will come
fine. Let
and
me
correct
know.
you.
Let me know, man.
Come back with an actually.
Actually, Kaz. No, I'm pretty sure that's right. But like that, so like I've had moments where I've envisioned trying to do something like that with Soviet watches, but like, dude, it's not worth it. Like, we're doing this, we have other projects we're talking about. I have a full-time job, I have a baby, I have the family. Like, I am not gonna sit here and try to painstakingly put together a curated collection of Soviet watch curiosities. I just can't. Although I do still want I do still want a Gen 1 swing lugs Vostok Amphibia.
Hmm.
Guaranteed to have had someone died while wearing it.
I'm trying to think if I were interested in going all in to collect one type of thing, just
I have a
for this
suggestion.
for the sake of cataloging. Okay, what's your suggestion?
Doxes.
Yeah, that gets expensive. My
Hey.
recommendation for you would be the Christmas chronos. So you have the
Oh
hardest one.
shit.
You have the hardest one to find. You could just get the other ones, and you have the collection
That's
of the.
actually a good point. There are a lot of really fun ones you can get that would, when put together, would encompass a really, really kind of like thoughtful collection. So okay. That's fair. Yeah, we didn't put a price on it, so I just threw docs out there, but that gets expensive.
That would be fun. That would that would be kind of wild, but that does get expensive.
What would you do? What would if you chose? What would you do within reason? I guess obviously if we don't want it to be too expensive, because I could go all in on Orient Neo 70s and not spend that much money. Honestly, I'm so far from the mic. Sorry, I have to get closer. Hello.
No,
Hello.
you're good. It's
All right.
that's really hard. I'd have to take some time to think about it.
You know what would be badass? I for some reason could see you just totally going a wild card and getting obsessed with like old vintage Timex.
That's something that I was thinking about. Old vintage Timex, going back to those, also the predecessors to the F91W, those
Hmm.
small two button Casios. Um, Casios that actually, there are Casios out there that do have issue markings on the back. So
Oh shit, that's kind
yeah,
of badass.
like there are old French Navy ones that have issue markings, um, just the same way a French Navy Tudor would. It's
That's
kind of
pretty
like
cool.
a
That's
weird, maybe some really weird lane of uh, military Casio collecting.
wasn't there a period of time when Omega was like putting different countries' Air Force logos on their dials and casebacks? Wasn't that a period of time? You know what I'm talking about? Like in the 60s or 70s?
Yeah, I think a lot of those companies at one point, I mean, even still today, they have these corporate co-branding services that you could probably, I mean, Rolex used to do it if you were uh like a Domino's pizza safe delivery driver
I was
for 10 years or something.
I was
uh
waiting for it.
I saw one with a grocery store or something, and it was like safe driver 10 years, and it was the grocery store's logo
What
on
would be
on
a
the 6 o'clock.
what would be a great watch to put the Little Caesars logo on? Like Little Caesars, you didn't stab anyone in 10 years that, was mad that nothing was hot and ready when you walked in. What would be a great brand to do that with?
I'd put that on a Yachtmaster too.
You don't fuck with that guy. Look at his watch. Look, he's got 10 years of Little Caesar.
Hot every time.
Oh, always hot, always ready. Next question. Oh god. Sorry. Here's your yacht master too.
I mean, that I actually want to find if somebody collected all of those super obscure co-branded like
That's-
Air Kings.
I could see that. Yeah, because the Air King Dominoes was a thing. It
Yeah,
was
but
yeah.
the Dominoes I think is the most famous one, but
Yeah.
people have seen Winn Dixie ones, or I don't know, just a ton of other weirds. Because
That's
again,
so
you
cool.
just had to work with their corporate branding office or whoever did that for you. These days, I think they not Rolex, but I think Tudor does it. Well, I think that's unclear, but Omega does it for sure. Breitling does it. You know,
Mm.
the co-branded stuff. Maybe that's something to get into, but that
What
also
should
sounds expensive.
we co-brand? What should we get our logo on? Our pop punk inspired logo that hasn't changed in like 8 years, 6 or 7, 8 years.
I don't know, maybe a massage gun or something. A noise gate pedal.
What if what if it was something ridiculous like Tums, like antacid pills, like TBWS branded
Then we'd have
Pepsid
to work
suite?
with the FDA, like, right?
What really? We can't just put like I mean, I'm not making the pills. I just want my face on, not my face, but I want my logo on them.
Yeah, but the FDA wants to know who's making the pills.
Oh, fucking okay. What about a nutritional supplement?
Yeah, that could come back. That could take things back for us, I think. A shaker bottle. How about that?
Oh my god, never again. I can see that. Oh,
Yeah,
we could do a shaker bottle that makes when you shake it, the sound it makes is the sound of a rotor spinning.
that'd be hard.
I don't even know how that I don't know how that's even possible in the context of reality. I don't I just said it, but I just said a Mad Lib to you, and I was kind of hoping it would just be possible.
Well, I don't know. We might get contacted by somebody. Who knows?
Oh, we'll see. Um, I don't know. I definitely am not that much into vintage watches anymore, which is a shame because I think what helped define me as a collector was honestly how much fucking time I spent looking at Sylvia watches. Like, dude, I spent a long fucking time like that breakdown we did at that Slava Medical like a few minutes ago. Dude, I would do that like dozens and dozens of times every single day for a long fucking time on like different watches, like different like Sylvia watches that I was just looking at. You know,
You're like, this is getting unhealthy.
this is like now it was. I mean, but I'm glad for it. But I don't see myself getting unless it's a very cheap, affordable Rolex Air King for
Yeah.
$4,500.
Even this stuff. This will be the last thing I share. But like, here's an issued quartz vintagey.
1,500, was that pounds? Sterling pounds?
Yep, it's expensive, man. But
It's like
1995.
uh when was there a was there were there what was there any conflicts in 95?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't
I
even I can't
was
even keep track.
I was doing other things in 1995.
I can't even keep track of them anymore. So 15, so it's like 1,800 USD, 1,900 USD.
Yeah, it's all because of this. These markings. Not, I mean, honestly, probably not a bad price. I love this website. They always have great stuff.
But you're buying the story.
Yeah.
You're buying the little stamps on the back of the watch worth it?
The coolest part of that story would be how sketchy the person went about basically not returning the watch when they were supposed to.
Okay, dumb question. You're supposed to return them?
I think so. I don't think you're supposed to keep a lot of issued watches.
Interesting.
I think you have to give them back. That was certainly the case with the Flieger watches. Um, yeah, I think you can't just like, I lost the watch.
Oh
Oop,
no.
oops.
I, I
So,
left it outside the bathroom. It's gone. It's gone now.
yeah. So those stories are fun. Maybe I'd be attracted to that. I don't know.
For a little bit less money.
For a little less money. Yeah.
Telling you, man. Well, here, let's do this. I think I'm very curious to hear folks' thoughts on the discussion of vintage watches, especially from folks who've been listening to us for a long time, because you've heard us go through all different stages. I think everyone's heard us go through all different stages of watch collecting, like throughout the years.
Yeah.
You know, let us know your thoughts on the show. Let us know your thoughts on the idea of when vintage watches are and aren't worth it. Your thoughts on the concept of a story not being worth it, or and this just occurred to me as we were talking about it a few minutes ago. But like, is it fair? Is it fair for the idea of collecting as a cultural touchstone in that brand's history? Is that fair to you as an individual? What if you just want to collect selfishly? Do you have to collect with a higher purpose? I guess if you can afford to, sure.
Yeah, that's key.
You know what I'm saying? But let us know your thoughts on the show. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you're listening or watching on YouTube. What up, y'all? I will endeavor to do a much better job at staying closer to the microphone. Is this better, Michael?
It sounds great. I think it sounded good the whole time. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because like I move a lot when I talk for some reason.
We just need to get you one of these with the fuzzy top.
Can I get one of the ones that like boy bands wore when they were doing like tours? Little.
We can try. It might sound good. I'm still looking
Right?
I'm still looking at the cat ear gamer girl ones. That comes with
that's right.
That comes with a microphone, so you could try that.
Yeah. So we got to get cat ear headphones. I got to get the boy band microphone. We got to get more Facetune, right?
Yeah.
We got to get ring lights, and we got to get OnlyFans set up.
And then we'll be ready to take on Mr. Beast.
We're coming to knock on your door, Mr. Beast. That is your real name. But let us know your thoughts on the show. Definitely hit us up. Check out twobrokeWatchsnobs.com. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel here as we continue to put things out. If you have any ideas for videos that you would like to see, definitely let us know.
Nothing gross.
Anything else?
Nothing.
Oh gross. God, yeah, geez, yeah, no. Unless you're on our OnlyFans. Yeah, the YouTube is a one button scenario. OnlyFans would be like what, like two or three buttons.
You're getting close. That's it. This is paywall.
Okay, this is paywall. Yeah, I'm buttoning back up. But let us know your thoughts on the show. Keep an eye out for just more updates on the website. Is that time? Is that sad time?
I think we're all done.
All right, you start it. I'll close it.
Thanks for listening, guys. My name is Mike.
And this is Kaz. You have been listening to Two Broke Watch Snobs. Later.